Hello and welcome to North Branch Nature Center's Amphibian Road Crossing Program Volunteer Training. This is Part 1, the Introduction. In this online volunteer training, we will have 4 parts. The first provides an overview of the program. The second provides details about amphibian ecology and natural history. The third describes species that you may find on the survey and how to identify them. The fourth part describes the survey protocol and methods you will use. North Branch Nature Center's work with amphibian conservation first began around 2005. That work involved volunteers searching in their areas for places where amphibians were crossing the road. A few years ago, we wanted to redesign the program with more robust and standardized methods. During our planning process, we consulted with a number of different groups, including the Bonnievale Environmental Education Center, the Hudson River Estuary Program of the New York State DEC, the Harris Center for Conservation Education, the Vermont Agency of Transportation, the Vermont Center for Eco-Studies, and the Vermont Reptile and Amphibian Atlas. We developed 3 overarching goals to guide the program. The first, to increase public engagement in amphibian conservation. The second, to decrease direct amphibian mortality at road crossing sites. And the third, to inform transportation planning with robust data on movement and mortality at road crossings. The first goal revolves around getting people engaged in amphibian conservation. We do this by providing trainings like the one you're attending, as well as gatherings for volunteers, and by featuring amphibian conservation in our own and local media. The second goal, simply put, involves our volunteers getting amphibians safely across roads. The third goal involves working with local and regional planners to use data gathered by our volunteers to change transportation infrastructure and making them safer for amphibians. This might include closing roads at peak times when amphibians are moving, or oversizing culverts and other infrastructure. Here's an example of a project in Moncton where data collected by volunteers helped secure grant funding and work with partners developed this underpass, which allows amphibians to move underneath a busy road. The video will show the underpass in use as hundreds of amphibians move safely underneath the road. Our current road crossing program involves a transect survey in which volunteers count amphibians, traffic, and weather data. To do this, we identified known and potential crossing sites throughout central Vermont. Sources for developing this map of crossing sites included iNaturalist, the Vermont Reptile Amphibian Atlas, and Vermont Biofinder. Our volunteers visit crossing sites near them on warm, rainy nights in late winter and early spring. Volunteers walk a transect from one point to another, record data about the amphibians that are crossing the road, as well as the weather conditions, and help amphibians move from one side of the road to another. Part 4 of this training will provide more details about the survey methods. Thank you for volunteering with the Amphibian Road Crossing Program. We appreciate your time, and the amphibians do too.